think about what a calculator did, right? The calculator offloaded parts of arithmetic calculations that what we would do on a piece of paper or mentally, right? And instead, like, we rely on a calculator. But in there are two problems to it. One, the level of like potential influence that a calculator has is very small, right? Arithmetic calculation only, right? It wasn't the holistic source of information with the calculator. That's one. The second one is that, and then the more critical one is that, at least personally, I have experienced that if you tell me to add like 27 and 35 on the go, right? Or if I'm looking at a mile marker and saying how much miles I've driven in on the road on like I-76 outside Pittsburgh, I can't do that on the fly. There's a loss that I have had. Now, is that the most valuable loss that I've incurred? Perhaps not, right? That is the justification for a calculator in the classroom. But the first one of a limited influence that a calculator has had on our way of processing information is important to note as we draw analogy to AI systems, particularly with ChatGPT. Now think about what ChatGPT has been positioned or at least been hyped for, right? One, it is a writing aid. Now, question, what do we do writing for, right? Most of us, and again, I speak as a researcher, so my experience may be limited and I may be absolutely wrong in this front, but I use writing as a mechanism to gain clarity, to understand the world, right? I have an idea, something's floating in my head. It will remain a fantastic idea in my head until I put it down on paper, right? Once I write in paper, many of the times those ideas are absolute garbage. But in the process of writing down, as frustrating as it may be, I gain clarity of what is important to me, right? To gain that clarity in the perspective that I have in head. Whereas with ChatGPT, what have we positioned writing as? We position writing as a performative action. You've got to put in this output. Now bring more papers out, right? Write another blog post, write another catchy Twitter post to get so many likes or something else. You've got to be more productive, right? Whereas, if you really critically think about it, these technologies that have come out in recent years, they're supposed to reduce our load. But why do we feel like we're under constant pressure of this having to produce even more now that these systems are out there, right? That's because we've allowed these systems to let us shape what is important to us to another metric, which is of outcome. More papers, more articles, more blog posts, more Twitter posts, more this, more that, right? Instead of thinking about writing as a process of discovering ourselves. But here in this case, for the reliance on AI as this utopic solution, like a panacea of sorts, we're further giving away that little agency and power that we have, right? And that is where I contest. I'm not contesting in terms of like, I'm saying there is value. There's definitely value in a bit, but I think that this current AI infrastructure that we have going on with handful of few controlling all of it, that I'm contesting. If communities want to run AI systems, may have need for those AI systems and these are locally deployed for their own need, there is value to these, right? It is after all a tool, right? Every tool has certain values, certain thing that of value that it brings, but we can't let it be in the control of the few, right? And that is what I mean by when I say like resisting AI realism.